What is up, everybody? Ethan back today with an album review. And what I'm going to look at today is Starz, simply called self-titled Starz. There's a look at the guys on the back there. Looking really cool. A little bit of glare there, but I think you can see it pretty good. There we go. Kind of move it around a little bit. This album was released in 1976, June 21st, 1976. A little bit of background history with this band. They're a band out of New Jersey, kind of New York area. They were actually found by, or discovered partly by Kiss's manager in 1975, who got them signed on the Capitol record label by Jack Douglas, who was best known at the time for his work with the band Aerosmith, Rocks, Toys in the Attic, those classic mid-70s Aerosmith albums. And I really think that's a cool logo. This is their first album. It is my favorite of theirs. I have their second album, Violation, released in 77 also. It's really good. But for me, this first album is their classic kind of masterpiece. Like I said, studio recorded in the record plant in New York City. This came out in 1976, their first album. Let's go over the band members. You got Michael Lee Smith on lead vocals. That's the guy in the middle right there with the star necklace. That was the inspiration for the logo. Richie Rano on guitar. Great guitar player, by the way. Brandon Harkin on second guitar. So this is a two-guitar army band, so that adds to the sound of it. Pete Swevel on bass, and Joe X Doob, a.k.a. Joe Grob, on drums. Yeah, so what kind of music is this? I mentioned Kiss and Aerosmith before. This band sounds a lot like early Kiss, but better even. And again, this is a more obscure band. They were not very popular. They've kind of gained a cult following in the years since. And looking on Wikipedia, they have been cited as a major influence on bands later that came in the 80s, like Motley Crue, Poison, Bon Jovi, and Twisted Sister. And you hear that, much like Aerosmith in the late 70s, huge influence on the LA glam rock scene, which I'm not a huge fan of. I prefer my 70s rock and then kind of thrash metal and death metal in the 80s more so than glam rock, although I like some of those bands, Dokken to name a few. But you hear that influence in here, and like I said, Kiss, that's what I get with this band and this album, specifically. Heavy Kiss, like early, think like the Kiss's first two albums, Hotter Than Hell and Self-Titled, and then maybe like Rock and Roll Over and Dress to Kill. Not so much Destroyer and like Beth and all that stuff, but yeah, think early Heavy Kiss. That's kind of the vibe you get on these songs. Speaking of the songs, let's get into them. And on my LP, the songs are actually out of order, so I'm going to look here on Wikipedia at the correct track listing. So it kicks off with Detroit Girls. Detroit, Kiss, Detroit Rock City, kind of in that same vein. Just a real upbeat, up-tempo, hard-rocking song with great guitars and heavy drums. And Michael Lee Smith was a great singer, too. Underrated singer, I think. Yeah, Detroit Girls, kind of generic hard rock song of the time, but it's really good. It has a real kind of heavy guitar section in the middle that I kind of really like. It's almost doomy and like Black Sabbath-y in a way. So yeah, with this album, like I said, I get early heavy Kiss, a little Aerosmith maybe, and even like some Montrose, right? Or maybe like Moxie from Canada, that real kind of heavy blue-collar meat and potatoes rock. No keyboards, no piano, no harmonica, no honky-tonk blues. This is just pure guitar, drums, singing. And the bass is real high in the mix too, and it kind of has a Kiss kind of Gene Simmons-y style to the bass playing, which kind of adds to the heft of the songs. Just real heavy and thick sounding. I love that. Yeah, Detroit Girls, great song, catchy kind of poppy chorus, but the actual music being played is pretty heavy. And then Live Wire, another great up-tempo, just kind of raucous party rock song. yeah, like I said, it kind of foreshadows where bands would go in the 80s. Even a little maybe influence to Van Halen, I'm hearing. Yeah, just a great song. Again, great chorus, a poppy, hooky chorus. This is hard rock / proto metal, but it has an arena rock kind of poppy vibe in some of the songs, which I'm okay with. Generally, I'm not a real poppy kind of love song guy, but when they're done well with heavy guitars, I can dig it. So yeah, Live Wire, good song. And then we have Tear It Down, which is just another hard-charging, fun, upbeat party rock song. And I wrote some notes on some of these songs. And yeah. Then, track number 4, we have Boys in Action. That is a killer heavy rock song. Heavy, raucous fun, I wrote. That has a monumental, gargantuan, if that's a word, heavy guitar riff. And you have 2 guitar players in this band, so they're kind of playing off each other on it. Just a real heavy song. Boys in Action. Again, I sound like a broken record. No pun intended. But catchy chorus, hooky chorus, great singing with heavy guitars underneath. Boys in Action. Check it out. Might be the best song on the album. And then to finish off side 1, we have She's Just a Fallen Angel. This is their hit song. This is their attempt at radio play. It's a pop song, love song, lovey-dovey. Yeah, usually I'm not a fan of that, but this one's done pretty well, actually. I think it's a pretty good song. She's Just a Fallen Angel sounds like, like Kiss doing a love song. Although I will say this singer, he's not quite as annoying as Paul Stanley. I love Paul Stanley. He's a great singer, wonderful voice, but sometimes his singing gets a little grating on the nerves. This guy is more of a generic kind of singer, but in a good way, right? Side 2, we got Monkey Business. Great song. Side 2 might actually be better than side 1. Short, quick, fast-paced, in and out. Nightcrawler, track number 7. Love it. What did I write on that one? Nightcrawler, heavy riff, pounding drums, a little slower and moodier in some sections. And then we have Over and Over, which is a really catchy, fun, again, pop song with a phenomenal chorus. Over and Over, check it out. Good song on side 2. And then we have Pull the Plug, which is a song that kind of raised some controversy at the time. It's about taking somebody off life support, based on a true story, I believe. But that's just like a slow, moody, almost doomy type of song. Kind of more darker. The rest of the album's more kind of upbeat, party, have a beer song album. This is kind of more dark, moody, mellow. I like it, but still really heavy. You got good guitar in it. And I wrote down, it sounds ahead of its time. Sounds like something you'd hear in an 80s hard rock band. And then the last song on the album, a lot of times albums during this time period will kind of end the album with a dud, kind of a crappy song, but not these guys. They end it with a song called Now I Can. Heavy. Great riff I wrote to start the song. It just a big fat guitar, probably Les Paul guitar riff starts out the song, and you have an aggressive vocal from lead singer I wrote. Probably his most aggressive vocal on this album. Yeah, check it out. Now I Can on side 2, the last song on this album. And that's it. 10 songs, it's over. It's a kind of, pretty long album for the time. Not real long though, 39 minutes, so kind of standard. Again, there's a look at the guys again, looking really cool. There's the logo. The sleeve is really cool. Got the kind of girl there with the star necklace and the leather jacket. Again, doesn't that kind of remind you of something you'd see on like a Poison or a Motley Crue album? Kind of foreshadowing that 80s LA glam scene. So this band was pretty influential. Kind of a cult band, kind of an unknown band. You guys may not have even heard of them. I hadn't heard of them until probably a couple years ago. Picked up this and their second album on vinyl. I've listened to them on Spotify. This, without a doubt, is my favorite. So yeah, that's my review of Starz, self-titled Starz album, released in 1976. Underrated gem, kind of. Cult classic that was influential. Kind of sounds like Kiss, but even better. What would I rate this album? It's not perfect. It's not life-changing. It's not Sgt. Pepper or Led Zeppelin 4 or Deep Purple Machine Head or, Eagles Hotel California or, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. It's not that, but it's a great hard rock album. Just underrated, I think. Check it out if you've never heard this album, Starz. If you like hard rock from the 70s, mid-late 70s kind of hard rock sound. Like I said, think Kiss, think Van Halen, Montrose, Moxie, that kind of thing. So yeah, what would I rate it? I'm going to give it out of 100, I'm going to give it an 87, like a B+. Not a life-changing album, but a great, fun, heavy, hard rockin' album. And this is Starz, self-titled, from 1976. Thank you for watching this album review.